I've been seeing a number of videos from people that have been quite sanctimonious and a little high and mighty about their feelings about sugar daddies and sugar babies. On this program, I haven't ever gotten away from talking about it. I think it's a subject that's quite fascinating. For me, I can appreciate, guys and gals wanting to be involved in something debaucherous, and I'm not here to go ahead and say anything against anything about pay for play. If guys want to go ahead and pay for it and girls want to get paid for, then, let it be. Let it just be how people want to have it. And if that's a prerogative, there's what it is. But here's the main focus of everything. In psychology, we've noticed that women are blessed in many cases, in most cases, I would say, with beauty of some way, shape, or form. That men will find women of the opposite sex beautiful. And because of that beauty, at a young age, beauty is meant to be a trait for a woman to go ahead and be able to get ahead. So there's nothing against it on my end, and I know some people that some women might be feminists that might feel differently about that or indifferent, but I don't see why there is, because in the natural sense, if you have beauty then will help you to gain wisdom. So when you get older, when your beauty fades away, wisdom will be here to stay. That's really what it comes down to. And so I don't want to go and hear from people that are just really going ahead and bashing the whole concept. Right now, we're experiencing a pandemic, and it has an amazing fiscal and economic effect. If you might remember going back to when we had a recession back in 2006, 7, 8, you might not even realize it, but there were probably a lot more women that were, in particular, as college students or working in a gig economy or doing some other jobs that might be to get ends meet, because in an sense, the women that are not going to be career women or striving to be career women, they're going to find other jobs or other odds and ends to make ends meet. And that's the whole point. And I can't knock any woman that, might have gone into other debaucherous type professions to make ends meet. If they've used their bodies, okay, what are we going to say to those women that go to a strip club or go to a massage parlor or whatever they might be able to do? Or if they escort themselves, they might be trying to find ways to make money. The only difference is now there's a lot more ways to try to keep it more of an online sense, or make it where women don't want to offer themselves up for sex, but their beauty can be used as a tool in order to get guys to go ahead and spend money on them. That's where e-girls and thoughts and all this are going on right now. And the simps, all that plays in the same thing. Women are using their beauty to get what they can. And so I can't knock a woman for being able to do that, but guys just need to be smarter about it. That's the whole point. But if there are guys out there that are willing to pay and willing to spend money, in some cases to get nothing or to get sex from a beautiful woman, then they're going to do that. And who is it for us to go ahead and criticize? I'm not here to criticize it. I don't have a problem with it at all. But I think that's what's got to be considered. In this day and age of dating, if you're not doing traditional dating and you're doing online dating and you are in a situation where you have money being talked about in a conversation, yes, a woman might not be interested in you in a traditional sense dating, because in some cases, more than not, a lot of women are looking to go ahead and get something from the guy. They might not just say it's gifts, which might be something that you would give as part of a date anyway, because you're going to spend money, in the most part, for a woman to go ahead and go out with. But then some guys are willing to go ahead and justify the fact that, well, I'm only going to spend money on this girl giving her gifts. Why don't I just give her money? And why don't I just hold her up and help her, maintain a lifestyle that she has, or help her with her bills, or help her with her loans or her student debt, whatever it might be. And there are guys that are willing to go and do that if they have the means to do it. In this day and age of dating, if you're not doing traditional dating and you're doing online dating and you are in a situation where you have money being talked about in a conversation, yes, a woman might not be interested in you in a traditional sense dating, because in some cases, more than not, a lot of women are looking to go ahead and get something from the guy. They might not just say it's gifts, which might be something that you would give as part of a date anyway, because you're going to spend money, in the most part, for a woman to go ahead and go out with. But then some guys are willing to go ahead and justify the fact that, well, I'm only going to spend money on this girl giving her gifts. Why don't I just give her money? And why don't I just hold her up and help her, maintain a lifestyle that she has, or help her with her bills, or help her with her loans or her student debt, whatever it might be. And there are guys that are willing to go and do that if they have the means to do it. So with that said, there are certain things that are out there now that people know are the types of relationships that are being made. Psych Central put out a full list, and we talked about it here on When I'm Not Podcasting about that. And those 7 types of sugar relationships are sugar prostitution, compensated dating, compensated companionship sugar dating, sugar friendships with benefits, and pragmatic love. In those areas, sugar prostitution would just be, okay, it's a woman just looking to go and really just find a guy that'll just be a friends with benefits, but will really give money. Basically, just it's a younger woman who's not living on the streets, that probably has her own place. She's kind of playing it more like an escort. But not even an escort, like a professional. She's not even doing that either. It's just offering to go ahead and sell herself, her body, for some money to make whatever ends meet. Some women are also mothers, and they're just finding ways to use their bodies to make the advantage. Is it great? No, but I'm not going to knock any woman for doing that. Compensated dating. So dating somebody and saying, okay, you want to go out for coffee? Then give me $100. And here's the thing. From the dating I've done, I've been propositioned for all these types of relationships. Just happens to be that way. Compensated companionship, sugar dating. Again, same kind of idea where you're finding somebody that's a companion that is just there with you. But again, no sex involved. And some of these are absolutely no sex involved. So compensated dating, compensated companionship, sugar dating, sugar friendships are all like that. Sugar friendships with benefits, that might be a little bit of third base, but really not sex. And pragmatic love is supposed to be the whole idea of like a consensual relationship, but it's completely based on money. Now, there's a recent story from StudyBreaks.com that talked about this. The story is titled, "Why Are So Many College Students Becoming Sugar Babies?" Because there many are. If you didn't know, we've talked about it here on the show as well. That SeekingArrangement.com, they talk about how there are, 10 million women that are on their site that are all looking to be sugar babies. And some places have more than others. Now, in this story from StudyBreaks, they talk about, in an age of reawakened feminism, women are retaking the word gold digger and using it to their advantage. There's a new term for the millennium, sugar babies. They go on to write, most people know what a sugar daddy or mama is, but if you don't, the technical definition is a rich older man who lavishes gifts on a younger woman in return for her company or sexual favors. The distinction between sugar babies and prostitutes has always been that sugar babies get paid for their company, while prostitutes get paid explicitly for sex. The whole thing is, instead of going in to work in a strip club or to just sell your body for money, women are just trying to be as creative as possible without having to go ahead and actually put out. Instead of going in to work in a strip club or to just sell your body for money, women are just trying to be as creative as possible without having to go ahead and actually put out. I can't knock a woman for doing that. If they can find a way to do it and it's more acceptable in this day of online dating, then have at it. Vice.com spoke with several sugar babies and talked about their experiences. And, some of them are very extreme, like this.
Hotel, the first day we meet, and it's just like, okay, you blew it.
One time I had a guy ask me if I would be interested in coming to a hotel and licking his cum off a mirror. I don't know that I'm that interested in it.
But everybody should know that when Vice is putting out this story, they're trying to really sensationalize this and make it sound really awful. But for the most part, most of the women that I've ever met that were offering or asking me to proposition to be their sugar daddy, they've also been very nice, sweet, young, beautiful young girls that are just looking to try to make ends meet. And for the most part, if they had somebody that was just really, there was a lot of different situations why they got to this route. Some of them have done it because they've been a little bit bitter, or they've been jilted by ex relationships, or having a guy that used to make them spend money that they got to spend money on the guy, and they got jilted from it, and so they want to turn it back around and get the advantage this time. But let's be honest, some of this is all due to initial relationships, which were definitely very more copacetic, much more traditional, and the guys fuck it up royally. And they ruin it for all the other guys out there. That's just the way it is. That's why we have simps and thoughts and e-girls and sugar babies. Because guys do not learn and do not understand the psychological makings of a woman. And for a woman, I'm going to give them all the credit in the world and say, listen, if they're doing something like this in order to make ends meet, then I'm not going to say anything against them for doing this. More on them for trying this. But for most women, they know they don't have to do this. But for some women, they feel like this is a route they can go and they can feel comfortable with. And if they're able to go ahead and get through this without being felt like a slut or a whore, and they've never had to go and put out an all for giving said money, then they'll do that. If they're giving naked pictures of themselves, or they're doing something where they're just giving some kind of an oral pleasure to a guy without having to do full penetration, then they're going to do that. That's what they want to do. As little as possible for as much as they can get. So I can't discredit a girl for doing that. So I don't want anybody to go and put the whole onus on them and make every woman feel bad for doing it. It's, again, their choice. You know, if you want to work harder, work a second or third job, then that's what you do. But if a woman doesn't want to do that, then I'm not going to say anything about that. But I'll tell you what, because of the current pandemic, the economic situation, a lot of people getting laid off right now, this might be something that is not only a big deal at the moment. And look, some women that are college students, they're now laden with student debt. And that's another thing that's also being considered, that when you have college students that are easily being put into debt and there's no way to go and dig out of that hole, women probably handle it a little bit different than guys would. So for women, it's an emotional thing, I would imagine. Maybe that's not for all, but I think for many. So with that said, there's a bit of a panic. What can I do to get myself out of this hole? Like, you know, there might be a patience to say, okay, I'm going to really come back in the long run. I'll pay off my student debts and I'll be okay. But really the truth is you have to go and see what happens in the long run about trying to keep yourself grounded and finding a way to go ahead and pay off your debts if you can. And if you need to do something to go and really make some real big money to make this all go away and wipe out your debt and move yourself ahead, in some cases, there are women that might want to be supported in that fashion. It's no different than really women being supported as a wife. And I'm not saying all of them are like that. Obviously, there's many relationships that are really down the middle and equal partnerships in all senses of the word. But we know that there's a very materialistic society these days, a lot of great things to go get, and it goes for both ways. The guys are just as guilty because they're looking to get sex. They're looking to get laid. It's not so much about what they have in their pockets or what they're driving or what they're wearing. It's about the girl they have on their arm. And in some cases, that's what matters to them. And I can see all the time, especially down here in South Florida, how many guys are dating. And the fact of the matter is that they are with a girl that really it's more for status than anything else. And for women, it's not so much about the status. It's about what their own needs are, their own needs and wants. So they do that. And they're not necessarily concerned right away, you know, at certain ages about, you know, they might have thought about sex a little bit here and there, but really that's not a major concern, I would think, as much as it is trying to kind of work with a chip on the shoulder and show that a woman can be just as good as a man, because that feministic thought is being instilled in every woman's head growing up. So there's the thought, you got to be better. You got to be better than who you are and stronger. And so feminists are going to go ahead and push back against those that are sugar babies seeking sugar daddies. So they're seeking arrangements, and the sugardaddy.coms of the world are going to get bashed on. But like I said, of the women I've met that I've been propositioned about this for money of whatever shape or form, I met a lot of really good women. I can't knock them for looking to go and find other ways to get themselves ahead. But if they can do it and the environment and society allows it, then leave them alone. Let them find their way around. If not, maybe society will change for the better so that women don't feel like they need to go and do things like this to get ahead. But again, the economy and the way things are, the opportunities for women to get ahead have to be there, just like for men.